It's a Tuesday, 2:10, in a cafe that's a little too bright. A woman is waiting to meet someone she has only ever messaged. The door opens. A stranger steps in, scanning the room for a face they have never seen either. Their eyes meet across the room. And here, before a word, before a handshake, something has already happened. In less time than it takes to blink, she has sorted him. Safe, or not. Warm, or not. She could not tell you how. He has done exactly the same to her. Two verdicts, passed in silence, before either of them has earned a thing. So here is the question we'll follow through this film. Why do we trust some faces on sight, and quietly doubt others, before they have said a single true word? For most of the last century, we assumed trust was earned. Built slowly, brick by brick, out of what people actually did. Then a psychologist in a Princeton lab began to time it. And the numbers were not slow at all. His name is Alexander Todorov. He spent years flashing faces at people and asking a single question. Do you trust this person? The faces appeared for 1/10 of a second. 100 milliseconds. Barely a flicker. Long enough. In that flicker, people had already decided who was trustworthy, and they mostly agreed with one another. Then he gave them all the time they wanted. A full second. 10 seconds. As long as they liked. The verdict did not change. More time only made them more certain of the judgment they had already reached. The order matters. The judgment lands first. The reasons arrive afterwards, to explain a decision that was already made. It happens beneath thought. Shown faces too fast to consciously see, the brain's threat center still stirred for the untrustworthy ones. We are not deciding to judge. By the time we notice a person at all, the judging is already done. Which raises a harder question. In 1/10 of a second, with no history and no words, what is it actually reading? Not character. There is no time for character. It is reading the shape of the face itself, as though the shape were an expression. A face whose resting features lean, ever so slightly, toward a smile, we read as warm. We trust it. A face that leans, just as slightly, toward a frown or a glare, we read as cold. We hold something back. Todorov's finding is almost unfair. These people are feeling nothing at all. Their faces are simply built that way. The smile we trust was never smiled. The coldness we flinch from was never felt. We are reading weather off a photograph. We do it because, for most of our history, a face meant an expression. A face leaning toward anger usually was angry, and often a threat. The circuit that once read a living face across a clearing now reads a stranger's resting face across a cafe. It cannot tell the two apart. So the man born with a downturned mouth carries a verdict he never earned into every room he enters. And the woman whose face rests soft and open is trusted with things she may not deserve. The face spends a credit the person never banked. You already know this. You have distrusted someone on sight and been ashamed to find no reason for it. There wasn't one. There was only a shape. But the shape of a face is only half of it. The other half is stranger, and it is about us, not them. Because the machine doing the judging is, at heart, a machine for recognizing. And it never meets a face fresh. Every new face is run, instantly, against every face we have ever known. Kin. Friends. The one who once frightened us. We do not trust the stranger. We trust whoever the stranger resembles. There is an experiment here that is hard to shake. Researchers quietly morphed a stranger's face to share a little of the subject's own. The subjects never noticed. But they trusted that face more. Handed it more money in the game. We trust the faces that look faintly like us. Familiar is safe. It is an old equation. The face you have seen before did not harm you, so the face that resembles it probably won't either. So resemblance becomes trust, and trust disguises itself as judgment. We call it a good feeling about someone. It is often just recognition. It runs the other way too, and this one leaves marks. A stranger who resembles someone who once hurt us inherits the whole debt. They walk in owing something they never borrowed. We watch them a little more closely. We believe them a little less. None of it is chosen. The resemblance fires below thought, in the same 1/10 of a second, tagging strangers with faces from our past. So two things have happened before hello. The face was read as an expression. And the person was mistaken for someone else. And still the verdict feels like truth. Clean, immediate, certain. As though we had simply seen them clearly. Now here is the part that turns the whole thing over. The verdict does not just sit there. It goes to work on the person. Decide a stranger is warm, and we lean in. We soften. We offer them the easy version of ourselves. And warmth, met with warmth, warms. They relax. They give us their best in return. The trust quietly proves itself true. Decide a stranger is cold, and everything reverses. We guard. We clip our words. We offer the wary version instead. And they feel it. Of course they do. Met with a closed door, they close one of their own. Now they seem exactly as cold as we decided. The doubt built the very coldness it claimed to have detected. The evidence was manufactured by the verdict that came first. This is the quiet engine under 1,000 first meetings. We do not discover who people are. We draw it out of them. The trusted grow trustworthy in our company. The doubted grow guarded. And each of us walks away certain we simply read them right. You have been on both ends of this. Rooms you walked into and instantly bloomed. Rooms you walked into and quietly shrank. You were not a different person. You were a differently received one. Someone's 10th of a second verdict had met you at the door. We think we are describing people. Most of the time we are quietly assigning them a part, and then watching them play it. Which forces the last question, the uncomfortable one. If the verdict makes itself true, how often was it ever right to begin with? Set against real behavior, who actually keeps their word, who actually cheats, the snap judgment performs poorly. Barely better than a coin toss at predicting who will honor a promise. The certainty is real. The accuracy is not. And yet we let it decide almost everything. Todorov found that faces judged more capable, in a single second, could predict real elections. Around 7 in 10 races went to the face that simply looked the part. The voters were sure they had weighed the arguments. The same fast verdict sits inside the loan officer, the juror, the hiring panel. In the split second before the interview has truly begun. It decides who is handed the benefit of the doubt, and who spends the whole meeting climbing out of a hole they never dug. An ancient circuit, built to read a face across a fire in a fraction of a second, now quietly sorting mortgages and marriages and lives. It is fast because it had to be. On the old plains, a wrong read could cost a life. There was never time to gather evidence. But we do not live on those plains. The stranger in the cafe is not a shape in the grass. And we have been given, for once, a little time. The judgment will still arrive. It always does, on schedule, in its 10th of a second. That part we do not get to switch off. What we are given is the moment just after. The narrow gap between the verdict and our belief in it. In that gap, a quiet correction becomes possible. Not to trust everyone, only to notice that the feeling came far too fast to be about them. The doubt that arrived in an instant may be telling us nothing about this person and everything about a face we once knew. The trust that arrived just as fast may be borrowed too, lent to a smile that was never smiled, to a resemblance we cannot place. We meet no one cleanly. Every face arrives through a fog of everyone who came before, the loved, the feared, the half-remembered. The stranger was never really the one being judged. They were only the screen we projected an old, fast verdict onto. This is not a flaw to be fixed. It is the machinery of being human, running exactly as built, only a little out of its era. So the next time trust or doubt lands that fast, and feels that certain, we might simply notice the speed of it. And the certainty is only the oldest part of us talking, not the truest. The person across the table has not yet begun to arrive. Back in the cafe, the coffee has gone cold. Two strangers sit across a small table, each already sure of the other. And neither of them, yet, is right.